I didn't even want to go to that party. Loud music, sticky floors, people pretending to be cooler than they actually are. Pass. But my roommate begged, said I needed to live a little. So I showed up, hoodie on, sat on the couch, and drank orange soda like a depressed raccoon. Then Liam Monroe walked in. Golden boy, the campus flirt, basketball captain. Walks like the hallway is his runway. Girls like him, guys like him, professors like him. And worst of all, I liked him too. I'd never said a word to him, but I knew his laugh from 3 classrooms away. That kind of person. I looked away when he passed me. No eye contact. I was just a background character and I liked it that way. But fate or alcohol had other plans. I was halfway through a bag of chips when someone crashed onto the couch beside me. I turned. It was him, Liam. His cheeks were red. His smile was crooked. Babe, he slurred, pointing a finger dramatically at me. You actually came. I blinked. What? He leaned in and wrapped an arm around my shoulders like we were besties. No, more than besties. This man had his entire face in my hair. Missed you, he said, then giggled like a child. People stared. Phones came out. Someone whispered, "Is Kai dating Liam?" Someone else said, "Damn. I didn't see that coming." I sat there, frozen, with Liam Monroe glued to my side, calling me babe like we were in a relationship. Couldn't even feel my toes. He smelled like whiskey and cinnamon gum. He started playing with the strings of my hoodie like they were the most interesting things in the world. Liam, I said. You're very drunk. No, I'm just happy to see you. He giggled again and leaned his head on my shoulder like it belonged there. A few minutes later, he was fully asleep on me. People were still staring. One of his basketball teammates gave me a thumbs up. I wanted the floor to eat me alive. Eventually, I dragged his half-conscious body into an empty bedroom, tossed a blanket over him, and walked home alone. I didn't sleep that night. My phone was blowing up. Someone had tagged me in a photo. Liam, arm over my shoulder, smiling like a doofus. The caption, "Cutest couple at the party." I wanted to die. The next morning, I wore a cap and walked to class like I was in witness protection. But as soon as I entered the cafeteria, chaos began. Yo, Kai, didn't know you were Liam's type. He called you babe? That's bold. Bro, are you too, like, official now? I tried to deny everything, but it was useless. The photo had gone viral in campus group chats. I looked across the room and spotted Liam at a table with his friends. He was laughing at something, clearly hungover but still glowing. Then he saw me. His eyes widened. His mouth dropped open a little. He stood up and walked over. I braced myself. Kai, right? He said. I looked at him flatly. You don't remember? No, he said, rubbing the back of his neck. But apparently I called you babe and fell asleep on you? Yup. He winced. Crap. I'm sorry. I was really out of it. I didn't mean to drag you into that. It's fine, I said quickly, trying to leave. Wait. Are people really saying we're dating? Yeah, I said, glaring. Because you said it loud enough for the entire house to hear. He grinned. Wow, not bad for a fake boyfriend. You've got this cool, mysterious vibe. I rolled my eyes. Thanks. I try my best to survive each day without being part of a rom-com scandal. He laughed again way too easily. You know what? Let's not deny it. Let them think what they want. I stared at him. Excuse me? Just for fun. I mean, you don't have a reputation to ruin, and I get fewer people trying to set me up. Win-win. My ego twitched. Wow, thanks. So generous of you. He leaned closer. You're not gonna cry, are you? I smirked. You wish. He tilted his head, like I was a puzzle he hadn't solved yet. You're interesting. And you're annoying. Great. So we're a perfect fake couple. Before I could reply, someone bumped into me and knocked my bag to the floor. A few textbooks spilled out. The guy laughed and said, Nerd explosion. Liam stepped in front of me instantly. Pick that up, he said, voice hard. The guy blinked. It was a joke, dude. Pick up. The guy bent down and picked up my books, muttering something under his breath. I stared at Liam. Why'd you do that? He shrugged. My boyfriend's books aren't trash. You mean your fake boyfriend? He smirked. Sure. That night, I couldn't stop thinking about it. Why was he being so weirdly protective? Was this still part of his fun? Or was there something else? My roommate walked in and said, So, you and Liam? No. Too late. It's all over campus. People are betting on how long you'll last. I buried my face in my pillow. I hate college. The next day, Liam sat next to me in class. He never sat next to me. He leaned over and whispered, Hey babe, what did I miss in bio last week? I turned to him and whispered back, You missed the part where I decided I hate you. He grinned. Flirting already. Cute. I wanted to punch a wall. Or maybe just punch him. But the worst part, a tiny part of me, was starting to enjoy it. Liam Monroe would not stop calling me babe. At this point, I wasn't even sure if it was a joke or some twisted nickname he'd adopted to torment me for fun. Every morning for a week, he'd show up at my locker with a smoothie and say, Morning babe, in front of everyone. I didn't even ask for this, I muttered under my breath as we walked to the library together. Yes, together. Somehow this fake relationship turned into him shadowing me like a clingy golden retriever. He passed me his phone with a goofy grin. Wanna take a selfie? For our fans. I pushed it back at him. I don't do fans. He laughed and clicked one anyway, throwing his arm over my shoulder. My face looked deeply unimpressed in every photo. His smile was blinding. We got to the library and sat across from each other. I tried to focus on my assignment, but he kept tapping his pen against his notebook and humming. You're distracting, I said without looking up. I'm romantic, he replied. There's a difference. I stared at him. You're not romantic. You're just bored. He leaned in. What if I told you I'm not bored with you? I blinked. That was surprisingly direct. But I wasn't going to fall for a line that easily. You flirt with anything that breathes. True, he said shamelessly. But I only sit through entire library sessions for one person. My ears went warm. No, I was not blushing. That was just heat from the sun. Indoors. Liam stretched, his hoodie riding up just slightly. A girl across the room dropped her pencil. I rolled my eyes. Why are you even doing this? I finally asked. He tilted his head. Doing what? This fake dating thing. You could have just cleared it up. He leaned back and looked up at the ceiling like he was genuinely thinking. Honestly, first it was funny. But then I kinda liked how people left me alone. And I got to hang out with you. My pen stopped moving. We never hung out before. Yeah, I was dumb. Silence. Real awkward silence. I didn't know what to say, so I went back to my essay. My brain was foggy now. Wanna come to my game tomorrow? He asked suddenly. What, why? Boyfriends go to games. Fake or not. And I'll need someone to dramatically point to in the stands when I make a three-pointer. I snorted. You're unbelievable. And charming. You wish. The next day, I stood in the bleachers, arms crossed, regretting my life decisions. The game hadn't even started yet and I was already planning my exit. But then he jogged out in his jersey, spotted me, and grinned like an idiot. I pretended not to see it. My heart did not flutter. That was just the wind. He made his first basket 5 minutes in and pointed at me immediately. Everyone turned to look. I wanted to melt into the seat. After the game, I tried to sneak away, but he caught me at the doors. Hey, wait up, he said, grabbing my wrist. I turned. Good game. You can stop pointing at me like a trophy now. He smiled. Can't help it. You're my lucky charm. You're unbearable. Still showed up, though. I lost a bet with myself. He leaned closer. And what do I get if I win the next one? You won't. He grinned. We'll see. That night, I stared at my ceiling in the dark, wondering how I got here. One drunken mistake, and now he was texting me goodnight with a heart emoji like we'd been dating for months. I didn't know what was real anymore. The next day, everything changed. I was heading to my usual spot behind the campus cafe when I stopped short. Liam was there, laughing with some girl. She was tall, gorgeous, clearly into him. She touched his arm like they were in their own little world. Something twisted in my chest. I turned and walked away before he saw me. Later, he showed up at my door holding bubble tea. "Hey," he said, handing me my favorite flavor. I took it but stayed quiet. "You okay? Who was that girl?" I asked before I could stop myself. He blinked. "Huh. At the cafe." "Oh," he said, suddenly realizing. "That's my cousin. She's visiting from Melbourne." "Oh." He stepped closer. "Why? Did it bother you?" I looked away. "Why would it?" He studied my face for a second. "Because maybe this doesn't feel fake to you anymore either." I froze. He reached up and brushed something from my hair. "Something that wasn't even there? I'm pretty sure," and said softly, "You can tell me if it's real. I won't laugh." I wanted to say yes. My mouth almost opened. But my brain screamed, "He flirts with everyone. Don't fall for it." Instead, I stepped back and said, "It's still fake, Liam." His smile faltered, just for a second. "Right," he said. "Fake." He left not long after. No heart emoji in the text that night. The next day, things were different. He didn't wait for me outside class. Didn't sit with me in the cafeteria. Didn't call me babe in the hallway. It was like someone flipped a switch. I should have felt relieved. But I didn't. I missed him. On Thursday, I finally broke and went to find him at basketball practice. He was shooting hoops alone, headphones in. I stood there awkwardly until he noticed me. "Kai," he said, surprise in his voice. "Hey," I said. "Can we talk?" He walked over, towel slung around his neck, sweat making his hair curl slightly. He looked like every bad boy romance cliché, and I hated how good he made it look. "What's up?" I hesitated. "I didn't mean to shut you down like that." He nodded. "It's fine. I get it. You didn't sign up for any of this." "No, I didn't. But I also didn't expect to start liking it." He blinked. "Don't look so shocked," I said quickly, nervous. "You're annoying, loud, and way too full of yourself. But sometimes, you're also really sweet." His voice was soft. "You like me?" I said sometimes. He laughed. "You've got an ego, you know that? Look who's talking." There was a pause. "Okay," he said, stepping closer. "So if it's not fake anymore, what is it?" I looked up at him. He was so close. "I don't know," I whispered. "But maybe we can find out." He smiled. Not a cocky smile this time. Just warm. Then he said, "All right, but this time let's make it real." We didn't label it. No boyfriends. No titles. Just Liam texting me every morning with "Wake up, sunshine." Showing up to my classes with extra snacks, and casually putting his arm around me like it belonged there. It was new, weird, and kind of amazing, and terrifying, because now it was real, and real meant it could fall apart. We walked through the campus garden on a cloudy afternoon, sharing fries and sarcasm. He stole the last one and I slapped his hand. "You're the worst," I said. He smirked. "You said that yesterday too." "Still true." He leaned over and kissed my cheek. Fast, like a dare. I froze. "What was that?" He shrugged. "You had ketchup." I touched my cheek. "No, I didn't." He grinned, unbothered. "Then I just wanted to kiss you." I stared at him. His smile faltered slightly. "Too much." I shook my head slowly. "No, just unexpected." He nodded, then looked down at his shoes like he was thinking hard. "Sometimes I still feel like I'm pretending. Not because I don't mean it, but because I don't know what I'm doing." I breathed out. "Yeah, me too." We sat in silence for a minute. Then he said, "I'm not good at serious stuff." I noticed. He bumped my shoulder gently. "But I want to try. With you." And just like that, I was melting again. Great. My spine had officially been replaced by soft noodles. We spent that weekend together. I helped him study for an exam. He complained the whole time, which made it take twice as long. But when he finally got a practice question right, he beamed like a child who just tied their shoes for the first time. I swear, it was the dumbest thing ever. But I wanted to kiss him right then. I didn't. But I wanted to. Monday came and everything went sideways. I walked into the student lounge and felt the stares immediately. People were whispering. Not the normal Kai and Liam are dating? Whispers. These were colder. Awkward. The kind that crawl under your skin. I sat down next to my friend Arjun. He looked at me like I'd grown a second head. Dude, he said carefully. Have you seen it? Seen what? He hesitated, then passed me his phone. It was a post. On Liam's ex's private story. But someone had screen recorded it. A photo of Liam and her arms around each other. Laughing. Looking really comfortable. The caption said, "Some people just never change." And underneath, guess who came back around? My chest went cold. It wasn't even a new photo. Could have been from last year. But it didn't matter. Everyone already believed it. I stood up and left without saying a word. I didn't go to class. I didn't text him. I didn't want to be angry until I was sure. But I was angry. And confused. And a little hurt. Okay, a lot. By the time I got back to my dorm, there were 3 missed calls and 7 messages. Liam, Kai, can we talk? Please don't believe that post. It's not what it looks like. I didn't even know she still had that photo. I swear I haven't seen her in months. Can I come over? Just, please talk to me. I stared at the screen, then turned it off. The next day, I avoided him. He tried to catch me outside class. I slipped out the back. He waited near my dorm. I used the side entrance. Every message he sent felt heavier than the last. I didn't know how to explain it. It wasn't just about the photo. It was everything. The way he'd casually held her in that picture. The way he could have still been talking to her. The way I felt so disposable suddenly. Like I'd made a fool of myself by falling for someone who didn't even have to try. That night, I finally opened my door. He was sitting in the hallway, hoodie up, face in his hands. When he looked up and saw me, he stood quickly. Kai. I didn't say anything. I didn't go back to her. I haven't gone back to her. That post was from last semester. We took that photo at some alumni event. She posted it to screw with people. With me. I watched him. He stepped closer. You have to believe me. I don't know what to believe, I said quietly. He looked like he'd been punched. You think I'd fake all of this? No, I said. But you're Liam Monroe. You could have anyone. You've had everyone. Why would I think I'm different? He stared at me for a long time, then said, because I never stayed with anyone before you. I blinked. You're not just a crush, or a phase, or a story I tell to feel interesting. You're the only person I've ever felt this way about. I crossed my arms, trying not to crumble. Then why does it feel like I'm just an accident? He stepped forward until he was right in front of me, close enough to hear his breath catch. Because I've never been this scared of screwing something up. Silence. Then stop making me feel like I'm replaceable, I whispered. He reached up and gently touched my cheek. You're not. Not even close. His voice cracked. I messed up. I should have told you about that photo. I should have said more. I just didn't know how. I nodded slowly. I need time. I'll wait. I'm serious. So am I. He smiled, just barely. You're worth the wait. Then he left. No kiss. No dramatic music. Just me standing in the hallway, feeling like I'd opened a door I didn't know how to close. Later that night, he sent one last text. Liam, I'm not gonna chase you, but I'm not walking away either. When you're ready, I'll still be here. And stupidly, horribly, a little part of me hoped he would be. 2 weeks. That's how long I went without talking to him. 2 weeks of awkward glances across classrooms. Half-written texts I never sent, and pretending my chest didn't ache every time I saw him laughing with someone else. He kept his distance like he promised, but that almost made it worse, because he meant it, and it was easier when he was being annoying, loud, and in my face. At least then, I knew he was still mine, even if only halfway. Now, I didn't know anything. My roommate shoved a pamphlet into my hand one evening. You need to get out of this cave. Join something. Live. I rolled my eyes. I do things. You drink tea and stare out the window like a Victorian widow. I tried not to laugh, but she had a point. The next day, I signed up to help with the Spring Art Festival. Something low pressure. Something that had nothing to do with Liam Monroe. Or so I thought. Because on day 2 of setup, Liam walked in, carrying paint buckets. We made eye contact. He gave me a tiny nod, then walked past me like I was air. I told myself that's what I wanted. We ended up painting signs side by side anyway. A girl next to us kept trying to flirt with him. He smiled politely, didn't flirt back, but I still wanted to chuck a paintbrush at the wall. "Hey," she said to me suddenly, "are you too?" "No," I said too fast. She looked surprised. "Ha, could have fooled me." Liam didn't say anything. His brush kept moving, but I saw the corner of his mouth twitch, like he was holding something in. Later, when I went to wash my hands, I found him leaning against the wall by the sinks. "Nice to see you still have fans," I said flatly. He looked at me. "She's not the one I wanted to flirt with." I rolled my eyes, but it didn't sting like before. He hesitated. "Have you been okay?" "No." He nodded like he expected that answer. "I missed you," he said. I looked away. "I thought you were giving me space." "I was. I am. But missing you doesn't stop just because I promised not to bother you." My heart clenched. He stepped closer. "Do you still think I'd replace you?" I didn't answer. "I'm not asking you to trust me overnight," he said softly. "I'm just asking you not to shut the door yet." I stared at the sink. My throat felt tight. "I should go," I whispered. He didn't stop me. But later that night, I found a note tucked into my bag. Messy handwriting. Just one sentence. "If I don't say it now, I'll regret it forever. I'm in love with you." No name, no signature. But I knew. I stared at the paper for a long time. I didn't sleep. The next day, I walked into class and saw him sitting there, headphones in, head down. He didn't even notice me. For some reason, that made me furious. So when he left, I followed. Out of the building, across the quad, through the crowd, until I caught up and grabbed his sleeve. He turned, startled. "You don't get to drop something like that and then act like you didn't," I snapped. He blinked. "The note." I held it up. "You think I'm just gonna read this and move on like it didn't happen?" "I didn't expect anything," he said quietly. "I just needed you to know." "Well, now I do. So what are we?" He looked at me like I just asked if the sky was real. "We're whatever you want us to be," he said. "But I meant it." I stared at him, then whispered, "I love you too." His breath caught. "But I'm still scared," I added. He smiled, stepping closer. "Good. Me too." I laughed, half crying. "That's not comforting." He touched my hand. "Then let's be scared together." And then, for the first time since that stupid party, he kissed me. Soft, real. No witnesses. No pretending. Just us. But nothing ever stays perfect for long. Because the next day, his ex posted another story. This one wasn't a photo. It was a screenshot of a message. From him. "Sorry. Just needed time to figure things out. Hope you're okay." Sent. 5 days ago. And I felt my entire world crack open. The screenshot burned in my head like it was carved there. "Sorry. Just needed time to figure things out. Hope you're okay." Liam had messaged her 5 days ago. That was after our almost kiss. After he said he missed me. After the note he left in my bag saying he loved me. And now? I didn't know what any of it meant. I ignored his texts. I skipped class. I didn't eat much. My roommate shoved toast in my hand and said, "If you don't talk to him, I swear I will." But what would I say? "Hey, remember when you said you loved me and then texted your ex the same week?" Cool. 3 days passed before I finally saw him again. He was waiting outside my lecture hall, sitting on the steps like the guilt had glued him there. His hair was a mess, hoodie inside out. He looked miserable, and I hated that a part of me still cared. He stood up fast when he saw me. "Kai, why did you text her?" I asked before he could start spinning anything. His face dropped. "I was trying to be human, not romantic, not flirty, just decent." "You thought she needed comfort?" "I thought she needed closure." My stomach twisted. "And what about me? What was I supposed to think when that message showed up right after you kissed me and said you were in love with me?" "I didn't know she'd post it," he said quickly. "I didn't even know she'd screenshot it. I wasn't hiding it from you. I just didn't think." "Exactly." I cut in. You didn't think. He stepped closer. You want the truth? No, I snapped. Lie to me and make it worse. I told her I was sorry for how things ended. I didn't lead her on. I didn't flirt. I didn't say I wanted her back. I just felt guilty. But it didn't mean anything. Not compared to you. I stared at him. Then why do I feel like second place? You're not. Then say it. He took a shaky breath. You're the first thing I think about when I wake up. You're the reason I learned what quiet actually feels like. Because you're not always trying to be seen. But when you are, I can't look at anyone else. You're not second, Kai. You're the reason I even know what real feels like. My throat tightened. He kept going. I didn't know I could love someone until you. And yeah, I messed up. I've been messy. But I've never lied about how I feel about you. I turned my head away, overwhelmed. But he gently touched my wrist. Tell me you believe me, he whispered. I didn't say anything. Not right away. But I didn't pull away either. He reached into his pocket and pulled out something small. A plastic keychain. The cheap kind from vending machines. It said Babe, in glittery pink letters. My eyes widened. What is that? The name that started all this, he said softly. Figured it was time to own it. I laughed despite myself. A stupid, broken laugh. You're impossible. He looked at me like I hung the stars. But still yours. I hesitated, then nodded. Yeah, still yours. He let out a breath like he'd been holding it for days. I stepped closer. But one more mess up and I'm keying your car. It's a bike. Then I'm melting your tires. He smiled and reached for my hand. Fair. I let him hold it. And just like that, we were real again. That night, we walked through campus like it was ours. People stared, whispered, probably already spreading new rumors. Let them. We sat on the same couch from the party. The one where he drunkenly called me babe and ruined my quiet life. Now he said it again, sober, clear-eyed. Babe. I turned my head. He grinned. You still flinch when I say that. I tolerate it now. Progress. He paused. Hey. Thanks for giving me a second chance. I looked at him. Thanks for fighting for it. He reached over and laced our fingers together. This time, I'm not letting go. And this time I believed him.